It's not a mystery to me. The same thing that happened to my daughter is what happened to Whitney. There's only one person that was around both occasions.
You won't say his name. Nick Gordon is who you're referring to.
I won't say his name.
Whitney Houston and Bobby Brown's daughter, Bobbi Kristina Brown, has been gone for a long time, but her father still finds the details of her death unclear. Like many others, Bobby has often suggested that Chrissy's ex, Nick Gordon, may have had a hand not just in her passing, but in Whitney's as well, so...
I want the world to know that Bobbi Kristina did not die from the bathtub incident. That's not what killed Bobbi Kristina.
What killed Bobbi Kristina?
Bobbi Kristina was starved to death.
Do you approach that?
He knows what happened. I don't know what happened that night, but he does.
You walk through that door and you see her much like you saw Whitney.
It was literally, it was a nightmare all over.
But allegedly, there's much more to the story. Word on the street is that Chrissy knew the truth about what happened to her mother, and some believe the eerie similarities between their deaths were no coincidence. Honey, I've also heard plenty of talk about how she was around for many of her mom's heated arguments with people like Clive.
And then it's Grammy time, and her and Clive had a fight 2 days before. And from what I was told, Bobbi Kristina was present for some of that fight. And then the next thing you know, she's dead.
So, what exactly did Chrissy know about her mother's death? And was it connected to her own tragic passing? Let's get into it. For a little background, Bobbi Kristina grew up in front of the cameras, appearing alongside Whitney several times. When she was just 8 months old, she was seen in an interview with Barbara Walters. And at 1 year old, she joined her mother on stage at the 1994 American Music Awards when Whitney accepted an award. When Whitney passed away, Chrissy was one of the people most deeply affected. She was even hospitalized after suffering a breakdown following the discovery of her mother's body in a Beverly Hills hotel room. But despite her grief, she put on a brave face during Whitney's funeral and memorial services. Her mother's death pushed her further into the spotlight, and although her family tried to shield her, she eventually pursued public ventures. She briefly joined a Tyler Perry series, made an appearance at the Billboard Music Awards, and even sat down for an interview with Oprah. Sadly, she didn't live long enough to carry on her mother's legacy. On January 31st, 2015, Bobbi Kristina was found unresponsive in the bathtub of the Georgia home she shared with Nick Gordon, eerily similar to the way her mother had died. After months in a coma, she passed away in hospice care on July 26, 2015. Her death was officially ruled a combination of drowning and intoxication by the Fulton County Medical Examiner. The toxicology report revealed alcohol, a cocaine-related substance, sedatives, anti-anxiety medications, and morphine in her system. However, the medical examiner was unable to determine whether her death was intentional or accidental, stating only that immersion in water, combined with intoxication, led to fatal complications like pneumonia and brain damage. The disturbing similarities between Bobbi Kristina's and Whitney's deaths have always raised questions. Whitney, at 48 years old, was also found unresponsive in a bathtub at the Beverly Hilton Hotel on February 11, 2012. Reports stated that her death was caused by accidental drowning, with toxicology results showing traces of cocaine, Xanax, and other substances in her system. It was initially suggested that she may have suffered a heart attack due to artery blockages, leading to her losing consciousness and drowning. However, the coroner found no solid evidence of a cardiac event, only mild heart disease that's common among smokers. Another strange detail? There wasn't enough water in Whitney's lungs to confirm that she drowned. This has led many to believe that she was placed in the bathtub after losing consciousness, rather than passing out while inside. And when it comes to the lingering suspicions surrounding Whitney's death, two names always seem to surface: Chrissy's ex, Nick Gordon, and Ray J.
Ray J was the last person to see her alive. He let the dealer in, but she was sober, right? But he let the dealer in that gave her the shot. Leola Brown, Bobby Brown's sister, has said on several occasions that she was beat. They saw her body. She didn't just die in a tub, like she was beat up.
Ray J was the last person publicly linked to Whitney, but their relationship was never steady, and neither of them confirmed they were officially together. On the day Whitney passed, Ray J claimed he wasn't at the party, but multiple reports suggested otherwise. In fact, some eyewitnesses stated that Brandy was asking about her brother at the party, raising the question, why would she be looking for him if he wasn't there? People also started side-eyeing Ray J when he was seen hurrying out the back, with Raffles and Brandy Burnside that same evening. This was especially suspicious because Raffles reportedly never liked Ray J, so why was he suddenly helping him sneak away? To make things even more questionable, shortly after Whitney's passing, Lola Brown, Bobby Brown's sister, alleged that Ray J had been supplying Whitney with substances and may have even given her a bad batch that night.
I saw Ray J coming out of the hotel, hiding his head, being pushed into the car. Why? I looked and I said, why is he hiding? Why is he hiding his face? He's always trying to show his face when he's around Whitney. Why now? Why are you trying to hide now, Ray J? And I put it all together. When I first heard she passed away, I said, my God, somebody gave her a bad bag. Yes, I promise you, that was the first thing that came out of my mouth. And then I saw Ray J. And
it also doesn't help that shortly before Whitney passed, she discreetly slipped Ray J's sister Brandy a note while crashing an E interview with Brandy, Monica, and Clive Davis. To this day, Brandy refuses to disclose what was written in that note. In another E interview, she simply stated, "I'm just going to keep it to myself for my own personal reasons." However, many believe Whitney purposely handed the note to Brandy in front of the cameras, just in case something happened to her. While passing the note, Whitney seemed to divert attention toward Monica and Clive, possibly giving Brandy enough time to read it. It's strange that Whitney interrupted a recorded interview while soaking wet yet fully clothed, just to hand Brandy a note and kiss her at the end. If you listen closely, you'll even hear Whitney say, "I nearly drowned today." People have also pointed out that Brandy is usually open about positive things, but when something is bad, she refuses to speak on it. This suggests that whatever was in that note was serious, and her facial expression when Whitney handed it to her spoke volumes. Many have speculated that Bobbi Kristina later uncovered the truth about what happened to her mom, and even had proof. In fact, according to Jaguar Wright, she was reportedly present during some of Whitney's heated arguments leading up to her passing.
And then it's Grammy time.
That happened.
And her and Clive had a fight 2 days before. And from what I was told, Bobbi Kristina was present for some of that fight. And then the next thing you know, she's dead.
There have long been theories suggesting that Clive Davis may have had a hand in Whitney's death. And if Bobbi Kristina was present during some of their arguments, you can bet she heard things she wasn't supposed to. It's also hard to ignore the fact that Whitney just happened to pass away at a party hosted by Clive. The whole situation just doesn't add up. Similarly, the circumstances surrounding Bobbi Kristina's death and the eerie parallels to her mother's passing have never made sense, especially when you take a closer look at what was really going on between her and Nick Gordon.
Between her and Nick Gordon.
This is a young man who swears to God that he loves my niece, but yet you drag her up the steps, you pull her by her hair. You pull her by her hair and you punch her in the face and you knock 2 of her teeth out of her mouth.
Apparently, Bobbi Kristina was planning a trip to LA to celebrate her dad's birthday with family. This wasn't just a short visit. It was supposed to be a permanent move to be closer to Bobbi and focus on her career. Reports say she was excited about continuing her mother's legacy and rebuilding her relationship with her father. But Nick Gordon didn't want her getting close to anyone. He knew that if she left, everything would fall apart for him. Allegedly, she was even supposed to meet up with a friend the same day she was found in the tub, to reveal that Nick wasn't the man she once thought he was. Sources claim that on the day Chrissy planned to confront Nick about her decision, she was under the influence and already upset. When Nick came back from being out, they argued, and he allegedly attacked her before leaving her alone in the room. That's why she was reportedly found unresponsive. Shortly after Bobbi Kristina was moved to hospice care, her court-appointed conservator filed a complaint against Nick Gordon, seeking justice on her behalf. He was accused of causing her substantial bodily harm and stealing money while falsely claiming to be her husband. Later, an amended complaint was filed, directly accusing him of wrongful death, stating that after an argument, Nick gave her a toxic cocktail that left her unconscious before placing her face down in the bathtub. Bobby Brown has been vocal about his belief that Nick was present at both Whitney's and Chrissy's deaths, and may have been involved in both. However, Nick denied the allegations, even shifting blame onto Bobby Brown himself. Tragically, Nick also passed away a few years later, leaving behind more questions than answers. So, was Nick really responsible for both deaths? Or was someone more powerful pulling the strings? One thing is for sure, Whitney's and Chrissy's deaths have never made sense. The eerie similarities are hard to ignore. What do you think? Do you believe Nick was behind it all, or was he just a pawn in a bigger scheme? Drop your thoughts in the comments below.